Aviation spark plugs are required to operate in extreme conditions. That's why Tempest is very precise in its manufacturing processes and selection of materials at its assembly facility in Gibsonville, North Carolina. Tempest spark plugs start out as high-strength steel bars. Computer-controlled machines shape the steel to precise dimensions, followed by quality control inspectors who check the parts for conformity to design. These parts become the metal shells and sleeves that form the exterior part of the spark plug. The heart of every aviation spark plug is the insulator and center electrode. Tempest electrode assemblies employ a proprietary solid-state fired-in resistor. The 21st century design ensures consistent resistance values throughout the life of the spark plug. Spark plugs should be rejected if their resistor value, measured between the wire terminal and the firing end of the center electrode, exceeds 5,000 ohms. Competitive spark plugs utilize a carbon pile resistor. This decades-old design is subject to condensation, corrosion, and resistance drift. Tempest spark plugs are guaranteed to stay below 5,000 ohms throughout their useful life. The insulator assembly for Tempest plugs begins as ceramic powder. The powder is pressed into the rough shape of an insulator and then fired at 2,700 degrees Fahrenheit. This process results in very robust insulators that resist cracking, even in turbocharged engines running at high power with lean mixtures. Nickel electrodes with copper cores, designed to rapidly dissipate heat, are then pressed into the insulator. Once the electrode is in place, a proprietary conductive powder is tamped into the insulator. The assembly is heated to 1,800 degrees Fahrenheit, and the terminal stud is pressed into place. When the powder cools, it forms the super stable fired-in resistor that seals the plug against leakage, an exclusive feature in Tempest spark plugs. To assemble spark plugs, an operator places metal seals on the insulator, then puts the assembly in a fixture. As the machine cycles, additional steps are performed. Here, the solid nickel massive type ground electrodes are fed into place. Rolls in the housing secure them tightly. Tempest premium fine wire plugs have electrodes made from iridium, Inconel, and copper. These two tiny parts are the iridium parts of the plug. They last 2 to 3 times as long as massive electrodes and almost never foul or need gapping. The iridium ground electrode is welded to the spark plug shell. The firing electrode is placed in a hole in the Inconel central copper cord wire and welded into place with an electron beam. Then, tons of pressure seat the gaskets. With the parts held tightly together, an electrical current heats part of the plug red hot in a fraction of a second. When it cools, the strong tensile forces that result make Tempest spark plugs into solid assemblies that won't shake apart, even after millions of combustion cycles. Tempest spark plugs are tested for leaks using 800 pounds of air pressure. An electronic leak detector watches for leaks. The green light shows that the seals in this plug are perfect. Gaps are initially set by assembly machine. A camera verifies the gap is within limits. A high voltage test fires the plug under dielectric fluid. The fluid simulates the heat and compression in an aircraft engine cylinder, making the plug under test harder to fire than when it's in a real engine. Only a well-built plug with a properly rated resistor will fire under these harsh conditions. A sensor shows that this plug passes the test. Then the gap on each Tempest plug is individually checked by a technician. The precision 16 thousandths inch gap for this massive electrode plug means longer life before regapping is needed. The Tempest factory can produce about 4,000 handcrafted, ultra-reliable aviation spark plugs every 24 hours. Tempest aviation plugs fly the world, delivering thousands of sparks per minute to engine cylinders. Because Tempest plugs have fired-in resistors, they rarely misfire or skip, and fouling is dramatically reduced. That means easier starting, smoother running engines, better fuel economy, and less pollution hour after hour. Whether you're maintaining a top cub flown for fun, or a heavy Navajo full of freight, Tempest spark plugs won't let you down. Next plug change, give your customer the best. Tempest Aviation Spark Plugs.